ancestral, so maybe you need to re.
Hello, Dr. Justice Sansari. Okay, I believe we also have Kwekwa Sansari with me, but I have Dr. Justice Sansari with me.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, great. He's head of the bar, correct?
Yeah, the Attorney General is leader of the bar.
Leader of the bar, correct. Was he at this particular conference over the weekend?
No, the Attorney General was not at the conference.
Has he been briefed about this resolution?
Attorney General has not been briefed. Like the bar president, the spokesperson for the bar said, they are yet to communicate the details of the resolutions to the Office of the Attorney General.
What has emerged, though, is that the resolution was to the effect that the suspension be revoked.
Okay.
That doesn't surprise you, does it?
I think it's shocking, but then again, you cannot conclude without seeing the reason behind the resolution, and that is because every lawyer knows that the law is not the job of a lawyer. Okay, a professional lawyer is to apply law or try to understand and explain law. And every lawyer also knows that law is not democracy. Law operates by reasoning. So that is why we lawyers can go to court, okay, and we don't argue by collecting numbers from the streets and say that because 10 million people said this, the court should accept it. We apply what we call legal reasoning. Now, the effect of what I've just said is that until we know the legal reasoning behind the resolution, we will just consider it, or it will just be another political statement from the Bar Association. Now, let me explain. The Bar Association is also a political. I mean, it's an association, right? So politics is bound to work within the bar, and so we would understand if the resolution is a political statement trying to have a political outcome. We would understand that. What we are waiting for, however, is we want to see if the resolution points to any legal breaches in the procedures so far adopted. In other words, if a resolution comes and it's pointing to the fact that instead of, for example, appointing 5 members to be on the committee, the president appointed 3 or 20, then we can consider that. If again there is a resolution which says that the president has breached any of the steps that the Constitution provides for this exercise, we would consider such a resolution and look at how to address it. Again, we would also be interested in knowing from the Bar Association if they are aware of the cases that are pending in court. And if they are aware of the cases that are pending in court, if they are also aware of the reliefs that are being sought. In other words, I expect a bar, before they give a statement or a communique, to be aware or to have in mind that the matter is also sub judice. In other words, the matter is pending before a court. And if their resolution is to, as it were, overreach the court, that also is another matter which we can consider. However, what I'm saying is that we are open-minded about this whole process. We are ready to take on board any genuine, legitimate, lawful, directive from or consent from any quarters, including the bar. But what I believe we would not advise the president to do is to advise the president to make a decision which will overreach a court order, or advise the president on a decision which is not based on law, which is based on some political interest. If it's about political interest, then I believe that the president has enough, a more comprehensive body, which is the Council of State, which has advised the president on what to do. And unless, of course, the Bar Association is claiming that the Council of State is not sufficient platform, or a proper, constitutional platform for the president to take advice and to consult with. But if it's about that, we believe that there are many, people who are at the bar who are also on the Council of State who have given, their opinion and advice to the president. And we weigh those are the advice given by the Council of State against the advice that the Ghana Bar Association will give, and we would advise the president on which way we believe he should go.
Dr. Sai, you don't find it curious that your boss, who is a leader of the bar, 2 days after the Bar Association meet and adopt a resolution, he hasn't been briefed, he doesn't know the details of it? You don't find that curious?
No, Mike, your question to whether the bar has briefed the Attorney General. Yeah. And my answer to that was that no, the bar had not briefed the president. But that is not to say that the bar, the GBA, that does not mean that the Attorney General is not aware of what happened.
So he's aware of what happened. Has it been given
Of course, the Attorney General is aware of what happened, but there's no official communication from the bar to us on
has he been given the official reasons for that particular resolution that was adopted?
No, as far as we know, there was no reason behind the resolution. What we are aware of, what we know, is that the bar had passed a resolution making some suggestions. We were interested in finding out the reasoning that went into the.
And you still don't have that. You don't have.
We
the
don't have
yet.
that reason. So we are waiting for the bar to. We believe that the bar will be very efficient enough to provide us with the reasoning, and more particularly, we will want to know whether the bar had in mind or considered the fact that the matter which they were passing a resolution on is judicial, is before a court, the Supreme Court for that matter.
And just a short while ago, we were able to speak to the spokesperson for the GBA, who had promised at the when we spoke to him earlier that we should expect the resolution to be published. He tells us that they are still not ready yet for us to see the communique on the back of that resolution that was adopted. But please stay with me. I want to bring in Kweku Ansah-Sarr, who is a former director of the Ghana School of Law. Mr. Ansah-Sarr, were you at this conference yourself?
No.
Okay. But are you surprised to learn that resolution was adopted by your colleagues, by the association, asking the president to revoke the suspension? Are you surprised to hear that?
No, not. I'm not surprised, and I wasn't surprised when I first heard about it.
Why were you surprised?
That has been the stock in trade of the Ghana Bar Association over the years, so it didn't come to me as a surprise. But listening to Honorable Deputy Attorney General, my take on that matter is simply this: one, the Attorney General is the official leader of the bar, and my personal experience over the years is that in such important constitutional matters, usually the Attorney General will be invited, and if because of the affairs of state, he will not be able to attend, he will usually send his deputy, one of his deputies, to represent him, because this is a very, very important national affair, and the views of the Attorney General will be very, very important. The suspension
resolution is something of law. So as far as we are concerned, the president is on track.
Justice, you're accusing the Bar Association of being lawless.
No one is above the law, and no one is also above lawlessness. So if I act lawlessly, I think you are entitled to describe my behavior as lawlessness. And if I act lawfully, you would describe it as such. And it is not an accusation in terms of that, because as I've stated, I've given the reasons why I think the suggestion or the communique, if that is what it is lawless. Because first of all, there is a case which is seeking the same release on the court. And we all know that as lawyers, we shouldn't take decisions that will overreach orders of the court. That is one. Two, we are also aware that we have not been pointed. The president's process has not been pointed. No error has been pointed out by the bar so far, and we have not seen any error in that. So the call on the president to do that which would amount to unconstitutionality, as my colleague who just spoke said, is only could only be lawless.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Justice Stremsai is a Deputy Attorney General. LA Head Kwekwa Sansari is a former director of the Ghana School of Law there. Well, still on this particular evolving subject of the suspension of the Chief Justice, today the main opposition, New Patriotic Party, they've been meeting the police on its planned street protest. We've been listening to the party's Director of Communications, Richard Ahiagba, who has been telling us about the outcome of the particular meeting with the police.
This most especially is a call for all Ghanaians to come out and demonstrate against the president's move to remove the Chief Justice, which we find to be against the Constitution, we find to be egregious, we find to be unnecessary, a political attempt to subjugate the judiciary. Our request for the police is to provide security. We have every intent to make it a peaceful demonstration. Theirs is to come and support us and ensure that the demonstration goes on peacefully without any disruption to public peace and order.
Looking at the notice that we've given to the police, do we know the timelines?
Yeah, the demonstration starts very early in the morning. By 7 o'clock, we should be on the road. We're starting at the Supreme Court, a park opposite the Supreme Court. We're walking from there through Parliament House, and then we're terminating at the Jubilee House. And then that's where we'll submit our petition to the president.
Well, on the Ghana Union Movement withdrawal from the protest, Richard Ahiagba accused the National Democratic Congress of plotting to disrupt the upcoming demonstration by influencing participants to withdraw.
I'm not sure any political party worth its salt would want to withdraw from a legitimate demonstration that gives its essence. If you go back in our history, in May sometime 1992, when the ban on political party activities was lifted, this country came alive. And now when we have that live, the opportunity to preserve this democracy, to have a political party that says they won't be part of it, for me is strange. And I can see the only reason for any political party to say anything like that, remotely close to it, is that the government is behind it. We know about efforts to water down our resolve. We know about effort by the government to kind of weaken our front, but we'll urge the membership or the leadership of GUM to stand strong, to stand for democracy, so that we can have a political party. Because if you don't have a democracy, you don't have a political party. So they should reconsider their position, join with us.
And that there's the Director of Communications for the NPP on the back of their meeting with the police today on that protest that they plan to embark on to protest against the suspension of the Chief Justice. I want to hear from you, 055-11-11-997. We'll hear from both the NDC and the Ghana Union Movement pretty shortly on that controversy. In the meantime, though, it's been 15 years since the devastating fire at the Kotokraba market shook Cape Coast, displacing hundreds and exposing serious gaps in the market as far as safety is concerned. But today, there is a new chapter marked by vigilance and reform. The Ghana National Fire Service, under the leadership of ACFO Mary Atega Mensah, has asked us. In a fire feature series today, a Central Regional correspondent, Eric Asante, looks back at the tragedy, the legal battles that followed, and the transformation restoring confidence among traders at the Kotokraba market.
In April 2010, fire gutted several shops and temporary structures at the Kotokraba market, displacing hundreds of traders and resulting in losses worth millions of cedis. The fire, reportedly caused by electric fault, exposed the vulnerability of the market's infrastructure and the glaring absence of emergency preparedness. It wasn't just the lost goods, it was livelihood, legacies, and a sense of security. What followed was a prolonged legal battle between some traders and the Cape Coast Metropolitan Assembly. In favor of a demo by the late President John Evans Fifi Atta Mills. Today, the Kotokraba market stands transformed. Fire hydrants, emergency exits, organized stores, and a better wiring system. ACFO Mary Atega Mensah have since January 2025 introduced a 24-hour surveillance at key markets, including the Kotokraba and Abra markets.
This initiative was prompted us when the Quantamanto fire, on the 2nd January fire outbreak. So I went to a shop and there was an intel that the following city will be Tema. It was there that when I came to the office and I called.
Hello.
Hello, Anthony. But did
He did not.
and at no time were other officers of the party involved in the decision to join the party at the protest?
Okay, if I can give a brief explanation of what happened. My communication director was called to attend to a meeting without knowing what was the agenda. You know, most of these political party leaders we are friends. So if your friend calls you that, oh, I want to have a meeting with you, so come, you will definitely go. So when he went to the meeting and they gave him the agenda, he called me and he told me, the communication director, why he went without asking for the agenda. But he called me after the meeting that this is what he was told.
I mean, the MPP alleges that the NDC got you to back out of this planned protest and that this is not something that you took by yourselves.
My brother, it can never be true. Since Saturday, I have spoken with Nana B over 10 times. I can tell you for a fact that I have not spoken directly with any NDC top official on that matter. Not even one. They might have heard it in the news or probably this our social media something. But I have personally not spoken to any NDC executive. But I have spoken to Nana B at least 8 or more times.
What were you talking to Nana B about?
It was for us to join while we are backing off. And I told him we needed time to think about it. We are not for this or that side. But at least if someone presents something before you, you need, as a reasonable human being, you need to think about it before you give your consent.
So after talking to him for 8 or 10 times, have you made up your mind now? Would you join?
No, we cannot join because we think that demonstration is too premature.
Thank you very much. And that there is the General Secretary of the Ghana Union Movement on the MPP's planned protest after they met the police today. And they had announced that they were going to do it together with a coalition of political parties. One of the political parties that they had put forward was the Ghana Union Movement. I want to bring in the Dr. Tanko Rashid, Computers, the Deputy Director of Elections and IT with the NDC. It joins us on the line right now. Dr. Rashid Tanko, did you get of this planned protest?
Evans, let me say good evening to you and your cherished listeners. I am happy the gentleman has dismissed the MPP with their propaganda. The propaganda that sent them to opposition. In fact, you see, rational human beings have seen the hypocrisy in their the demonstration that they want to do. So because of that, they are running away from them. After analyzing it, they realize that it's full of hypocrisy, and in fact, we have not coming from even a distance. It's just a short distance hypocrisy is what they are exhibiting. And then so they feel it.
I mean, but you have an interest in ensuring that this protest
are doing that is their
Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana. Also coming up in business this evening, President John Mahama appointed Matilda Asante-Siedu as the second Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana, and stakeholders in pharmaceutical sector bemoan constant default in payment for goods supply, warning it affect Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one stop shop for all of